Imagine this. Everything you've ever been told about oil might be wrong. For more than a century, we've been taught a simple story. Dinosaurs, ancient forests, dead plants and animals buried beneath layers of rock. Over millions of years, heat and pressure transformed them into oil. It's in our textbooks, our classrooms, even our everyday language. We call it fossil fuel. The case seems closed. But what if it isn't? What if one of the most important resources in human history didn't come from dead life at all? What if the fuel that powers our cities, our industries, and our civilization has a completely different origin? Because buried beneath the accepted explanation lies a mystery that scientists have never fully resolved. And the deeper we dig, the stranger it becomes. The traditional explanation sounds straightforward. Long before humans existed, vast ecosystems covered the earth. Plants grew. Animals thrived. Then they died. Their remains sank into ancient seas and lakes, where they were buried beneath sediments. Over tens of millions of years, immense pressure and heat transformed those remains into petroleum. Simple, logical, almost elegant. But every great mystery begins with a question. And in this case, the question is surprisingly simple. Was there ever enough biological material to create all the oil we have found? Because the numbers are staggering. Humanity has already extracted hundreds of billions of barrels of oil, and vast reserves still remain underground. Enough to power civilizations. Enough to reshape economies. Enough to change the course of history. So where did it all come from? Here's where things become uncomfortable. Most living organisms never become fossils. They decay. They are consumed by microbes. They return to the environment. Only a tiny fraction is preserved beneath the surface. An even smaller fraction survives long enough to undergo the complex transformations required by conventional petroleum theory. Yet despite this, Earth contains astonishing quantities of hydrocarbons. Not just oil, but natural gas, bitumen, and other carbon-rich compounds spread across the globe. For some researchers, the math simply doesn't feel complete. And that's where an alternative idea enters the story. An idea that has existed for more than 100 years. An idea that refuses to disappear. In the 19th century, a scientist famous for changing chemistry forever proposed a radically different possibility. Dmitri Mendeleev, the creator of the periodic table. Mendeleev suggested that oil might not be biological in origin at all. Instead, he believed it could be produced deep within the earth itself, far below the crust, far below the reach of life, in a realm of crushing pressure and unimaginable heat. At the time, the idea sounded almost absurd. Today, it remains one of the most controversial theories in geology. But the story doesn't end there, because decades later, an entire superpower would put that theory to the test, and the results would surprise the world. The Cold War wasn't fought only with missiles. It was fought with energy. Oil meant power. Oil meant survival. And according to many Western geologists, large regions of the Soviet Union should have contained very little petroleum. The geology didn't fit the conventional model. The necessary sedimentary formations appeared to be missing. But Soviet scientists saw something different. They believed hydrocarbons could rise from deep within the earth through fractures in the crust. If they were right, oil could exist in places conventional geology said it shouldn't. So they took the gamble. A very expensive gamble. They drilled where others refused to drill. Into hard crystalline rock. Into formations considered barren. Into places where failure seemed almost certain. Then something unexpected happened. They struck oil. And not just traces. Major deposits. Enough to challenge assumptions that had stood for generations. As drilling technology advanced, another mystery emerged. Oil wasn't only being found in sedimentary rocks. It appeared in places where conventional theories struggled to explain its presence. Some deposits existed at extraordinary depths. Temperatures there reached levels once thought hostile to liquid petroleum. Yet the oil was there, waiting, hidden in darkness for millions or perhaps billions of years. And that raised an unsettling possibility. What if some oil reservoirs weren't remnants of ancient ecosystems? What if they were something else entirely? Something much older? Then came a discovery no one expected. Not beneath Earth, but far beyond it. In 2004, the spacecraft, Cassini-Huygens, arrived at Saturn. Its destination included one of the strangest worlds in the solar system, Titan, a frozen moon shrouded in orange haze. A world where temperatures plunge to nearly minus 179 degrees Celsius. A world where life, as we know it, should not exist. And yet, Titan has rivers. Titan has lakes. Titan has seas. But they are not made of water. They are made of hydrocarbons. Entire oceans of liquid methane and ethane. Rain falling from hydrocarbon clouds. An alien landscape powered by chemistry rather than biology. And perhaps most importantly, no dinosaurs. No forests. No fossil record. Yet hydrocarbons exist there in staggering abundance. Which forces us to ask, if hydrocarbons can form naturally on Titan, could they also form naturally on Earth? Maybe the story of oil didn't begin with life. Maybe it began with the birth of planets, with ancient clouds of gas and dust swirling through space, with chemical reactions that predate oceans, predate forests, predate dinosaurs, even predate life itself. If that possibility is true, then oil is not merely the remains of ancient organisms. It is something far older, a relic of planetary formation, a gift inherited from the birth of the solar system. And if humanity's greatest energy source was waiting inside Earth long before the first living cell appeared, then the story of civilization may be very different from the one we've always been told. Because sometimes, the deeper we dig into the Earth, the closer we come to uncovering the secrets of the universe itself.